Agree, in our own country, in the history of our own country, there's never been a greater brain, a greater mental capacity than that enjoyed by Albert Einstein. Not just the greatest scientist of this century, but maybe the greatest intellect we've known in modern times. And for Albert Einstein, just for an illustration, the great scientist that he was, the great mind that he was, the toughest intellectual barrier to the Christian faith was not the question of God creating the world. Simple reason, the reason of cause and effect, was not hard for Einstein to grasp. He saw that the universe was an effect and it had to have a source. He saw that the universe was designed and it had to have a designer. He saw that it was ordered, and it had to come out of an orderly mind. And so Einstein concluded that there must be a mind behind the universe. He rejected the idea of matter simply bumping around endlessly in space until by random it formed itself into the universe that now exists. As he put it, quote, "The universe reveals an intelligence of such superiority that it overshadows all human intelligence." No, Einstein was not stumped by God as a creator. What really stymied Einstein was something far tougher than the doctrine of creation. It was the problem of evil and suffering. He knew there had to be a designer. He agonized over the character of that designer. How could God be good and yet allow terrible things to happen to people? Einstein couldn't resolve the problem of evil and suffering with a good God, and so he turned completely away from the God of the Bible, the God he had been raised in Judaism to believe in. What really tripped up Einstein was that he was a determinist. That is, he viewed human beings as complicated machines. He saw them doing simply what they were programmed to do by natural, irresistible forces. In fact, Einstein concluded that human beings were like wind-up toys. You wind them up and they do what they're manufactured to do. If that is so, he concluded, there can be no such thing as morality. There can be no such thing as right or wrong. There can be no such thing as sin. There can be no such thing as guilt. If a person's actions are determined, if he's just a wind-up toy wound up by a cosmic mind to do what it was designed for him to do, then he cannot be responsible for what he does before God. He, said Einstein, is no more responsible for what he does than a stone is responsible for where it goes when someone throws it. Who is responsible? Well, God has to be responsible, Einstein concluded. But if God is responsible, then he cannot be a good God, or he's responsible for evil. And if God is responsible, the God of Judaism or the God of Christianity, then he makes us do bad things as well as good. And if Einstein said God was like this, he would be constantly passing judgment on himself as evil. Well, he couldn't accept that. He could not accept that God could be both good and evil. And so he determined that there was no personal God at all. And he rejected the God of Judaism, and he rejected the God of Christianity, he rejected the God of the Bible, and he concluded that God exists as an impersonal cosmic mind. Simply a rational force that gave the world its rational structure. Those of you who've studied philosophy would conclude that he believed in Spinoza's God. And Einstein's premise that human beings were just robots was based upon the fact that an impersonal, rational mind created those robots. but he could not be a personal God with any personal nature. Einstein was wrong. And as I told you a few weeks ago when I was talking about Einstein in another context, he never got it. He didn't even come to the place where he fully understood God as the force in creation. And that's why he was never satisfied and died, never having really identified the true power in the universe. But Einstein was wrong about God. God is a personal God. And God is not responsible for evil. And the problem with Einstein is he wouldn't believe his own scriptures, the scriptures of Judaism. Now, when it comes to the origin of evil, you have several options, and these are the common options. You can take Einstein's option, first of all, that there is a cosmic power, unknowable, impersonal, some kind of rational power out there with no personality, no relationship, no ability to connect to us, but some cosmic, eternal power, rational power that launched everything in our universe. You can take that view. He is not personal. He cannot know or be known. Or you can take a second view. You can take the view that God does not even exist.